What's going on? Devin Schaefer. How many sets should you be doing per muscle group? I'm going to be going over every range of volume based off of whatever your goals may be. So let's jump straight into it. The first range I'm going to be going over is maintenance volume. And what maintenance volume is the amount you need to train in order to keep the muscle you have in a context of a whole body training program. So basically this range of volume is how many sets you need to do for a muscle group in order just to maintain whatever muscle you have. So if you're happy with the physique you got, this is how many sets you can do and be able to maintain your muscle. The next range is the minimum effective volume. This is the amount you need to train in order to make any measurable improvements in muscle mass over time in the context of a whole body training program. So this range, you don't really need it in my opinion, because there's one better and I'll get to in a second. But basically this range is the minimum amount of volume that you have to do in order to make any gains in the gym. Let me get to the next one because this one's called the maximum adaptive volume. And this is the average amount of training volume over time that is likely to lead to your best long-term gains in muscle mass in context of a whole body training program. So this is your sweet spot. This is the amount of sets you want to be doing per muscle group to get the maximum amount of gains going to the gym. So each muscle group has a different range of maximum adaptive volume. So I'll put up on the screen each different muscle group because bigger muscles such as back or quads, those are going to take more sets and be able to hit more volume in order to grow more. But something like your triceps or calves, they're not going to need as many sets to reach maximum growth. So you'll see on what I put up where it says MAV, that's the set range that will be the best for your growth. Now you see that for each muscle, there's a range. So what you're going to do is start at the smallest amount of volume for each muscle group. And then as you progress throughout your bulk, you're going to want to increase the amount of sets. The point of this is because there's more to progression than just increasing the weight and reps per training session. There's also a volume aspect of it. You can increase the volume per training session as well, and that's also another increment of gains. So let's say for back, your first training split, you're starting out with 8 sets in the week. Once you progress that 8 sets throughout that whole training split, and then you take the week of a deload, and then you go back on a new training split, you can increase the amount of sets to, let's say, the middle point of the two and make it to 12 to 15 sets for back in the week. And then once you do that in your training split, hit a roadblock, stop your progression, deload again, and then you can do the maximum amount of volume for your back. And then once you hit all those maxes on each of your muscle groups, then you're going to want to take a couple weeks off, let your whole body reset, and then you can get back straight to another bulk or cut, depending on how well the bulk went. Also, for this range of volume, this is assuming you're not going to failure on every set. If you're going to failure on every set, you do not need as many sets, because if you're going to failure on every set, you won't be able to do as many sets per week in order to keep gaining. So basically what you're going to want to do for each of these set ranges is go to 1 to 3 reps in reserve for each set and then slowly increase the amount of intensity for each of your sets. And then once you can't improve in your weight or reps anymore, then that's when you're going to hit the deload and then increase the amount of sets you're doing. So here's a big disclaimer about this. This set range is not set in stone. This is just based off of numerous studies and what works for a lot of people, basically like the general population. Your set range may be significantly higher or lower than this. Also, this set range is for intermediates, strong intermediates, about like 3 to 7 years of training. If you're a beginner, you're not going to need as much as this, most likely. And for advanced lifters, you're probably going to need a bit more than this. So how you're going to want to calculate how many sets you should be doing, start off at baseline with the least amount of sets in the maximum adaptive volume range. See if you're able to progress in weight or reps per session, assuming that everything else is on check with your diet and sleep, stress, etc. And if you're making gains, then keep that amount of volume until you hit a roadblock, then increase the amount of sets. If you're not hitting any progress, try increasing the sets and see if that will make a difference. And then if that doesn't work, try decreasing your sets all the way back to the minimum effective volume and see if that works. Because most likely, you'll be able to make gains with less volume. So I'm going to go over the other 3 sections, the MRV, the MAVP, and the MRVP. These, you're probably not going to need them, but it's just cool information to know. So the MRV is the maximum recoverable volume, the maximum amount of volume you can train with regularly and still barely recover in the context of a whole body training program. Doing more than this would cause worse results than doing less. So basically, like I said, how you increase your sets throughout a training program or a whole block of training, you're eventually going to start reaching the maximum recoverable volume. And that's when I said you got to take a couple weeks of just complete chill at the gym, nothing crazy, and just to let your whole body reset and recover from doing that prolonged 4 to 5 month training. The next one is maximum adaptive volume primary priority. This is the average amount of training volume over time that is likely to lead to your best long-term gains in muscle mass for a muscle if you prioritize its training and reduce the training for other muscles substantially, giving the primarily prioritized muscle more resources via which to recover from and benefit from more training. So basically this range range is if you have a lagging muscle group, you got to be really honest with yourself, because if you don't have a lagging muscle group, truly, you should not be touching this. This is if you have maybe like an injury, like let's say you injured your leg playing a sport, and your legs are falling completely behind the rest of your body because you had to recover from an injury. You could use this set range, reduce the volume on your other muscles, and allow your legs to catch up again. The last one is maximum recoverable volume primary priority. This is the maximum amount of volume you can train with regularly and still barely recover for this muscle if you prioritize this training and reduce the training of other muscles substantially, giving the primarily prioritized muscle more resources via which to recover from and benefit from more training. Do more than this would cause worse results than doing less. So basically, this is the same as I said with the maximum adaptive volume and the maximum recoverable volume. This is basically the set range for if it's a priority muscle. So the big overlay and picture I'm trying to make here is incremental progression instead of trying to just throw the whole kitchen sink at yourself and expecting you to just become massive off of one mega dreamer bulk. We've all been there. You think more diet and more training equals more gains. And then you do that for about 4 or 5 months. And then you look in the mirror and you're like, wow, I just got fat. What the hell happened? Happens to all of us. Happens to every single one of us. It's a canon event for lifters, thinking eating everything and training for 4 hours a day means you're just going to become super jacked and a huge bodybuilder. Fortunately, that's not how the body works. It wants incremental gains, tweaking slight variables week to week, allowing for incremental gains. So that's all I got for this video. Go check out the Instagram, TikTok, YouTube Shorts at Devin Schaefer with 2 R's. I will be posting shorts of this video and also my previous YouTube videos. That's all I got for this one. See you guys next time.